Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, riveting, and amazing Propagandacast. With me, your host, Imperial Dane, the one, the only Master Propaganda, here of Strike Defender of the Fatherland, off here to a 1v1 on Bocage. In the north, it is Tretz, fighting here for the Oberkommandist Germany, Deutschland. The Großdeutschland Panzergrenadierdivision, tasked with launching a counterattack to clear out this sector just recently taken by the Soviets, under Conscript here, fighting for the Red Army of the Soviet Union. The 7th Guards Rifle Infantry Division here with airborne troops featuring airdrop weapons, paradrop heavy machine guns, airborne rally points, which no one ever uses, Guards airborne troops, rocket runs, which will infantry, Tretz for the Volkskundige Panzer start here. So, off to the races here. And as always, a big hearty thanks to my paid supporters, these champions and heroes are keeping the business. Without them, I would not be able to make this and so many other videos. You too can join the ranks by pledging on Patreon, or you can donate by PayPal. Links are in the description. And also you can comment, like, share, subscribe, press the bell button to that way spread the word of the Propagandacast a bit further as well. So engineers at the centre, we get a bit of barbed wire here though from Conscript. They're looking to secure the centre there against any fascist incursions. Thumbs up. Definitely thinking ahead here. Conscript's based in the east and in the west, though no sandbags from his Flontovics. You need to use basically all that barbed wire. Yuri! Yes? Why did you forget the gloves? We don't need gloves. Oh. Sandbags in the west, a big push there by the Germans. Panzers are busy there. Second Panzer squad man's going to come up for Treadz. More barbed wire there. Definitely just looking like gaining the upper hand on future engagements around the centre here. Definitely not a bad idea. That said, some players... It actually tends to be a bit of rare to players like to focus so heavily on particularly around the centre here, but Conscript definitely saw the opportunity and took it here versus Treadz. Second Panzer squad here now for Treadz, and he's being focused down by the Panzerfusilier K9 TKs versus Minotaur guns at close ranges. Definitely going to win there for the Panzerfusilier simply due to sheer numbers. In the west here, Volkskundige Sturmpionier captain the Conscripts. The Sturmpioneers force use an old dead cover. That's better than getting shot, I suppose, but definitely not much better. Sturmpioneer close again, they conquer the Volkskundige we can here. Already there with the assault rifle, they chew through the Conscripts there, leaving them quite dead in a matter of moments here. That set leads to a one-on-one engagement here. Volkskundige should have a chance there. More counter around here for Conscript, which does make sense. I mean, he has gone for airborne troops. He's going to want to equip them with airdrop weapons. The SVT-40 semi-automatic rifle. Pushing back the Conscript in the east. They're slowly bleeding out. Looks like the Conscripts actually might be winning here. They might actually be winning. Right here, though, for Conscript, definitely a bit awkward for Treadz, who's going for the third Panzer squad. So we will be definitely, I think, looking at a lot of recon packages. There's G43s. Conscript pushing against the Volkskundige here, overwhelming with sheer firepower and gumption. Panzer being to try and block any further pursuit here, and particularly any breakthrough to the fuel point there, as that could leave Treadz definitely feeling a bit awkward. East side, that we got more progress. We actually got a bit of harassment, I think. That's not a bad idea by Treadz at all, honestly. Just looking to disrupt his opponent's fuel point and fuel flow. Thumbs up. A sharp move there by Treadz. Saw the opportunity, took it. Clearly, both players, I think, are the opportunistic type, which I think is always interesting to watch. And I think it's also generally a good trait to have. And when you do find in certain higher ranked players, though not all high ranked players, I would say, are opportunists. More engineers there for Conscripts. Bit more to go for calling in the airdrop weapons. Bit of skirmish on the west here. Truck out there for Tretz. Probably going to be the Battlefield headquarters, though. He could surprise with the mechanized regiment, but you're much more likely to see the Battlefield headquarters with Panzerfusilier heavy players. Since you don't want to be using the medical supplies to heal them up, if possibly want to preserve some munitions for the recon packages. But again, Tretz could surprise us. In the west here, Panzer squad, they're being assaulted here. We've got constantly up in the scront and on the flank. And that said, you could have tried for a deeper flank here and sort of move up through here and get past the front. Panzer would attack from here, using the hedges there to attack from, or bushes. I think that'd been a much smarter move. Barbed wire up here. Again, barbed wire from Tretz as well. Very good. Got the centre. No sandbags here for Conscript. It is worth noting, while he has been keen on wiring, he's not been keen on sandbagging. So, no truck set up yet there for Treadz. Is he actually playing the mechanized regiment, or is it simply like he's just preoccupied with going on the front line here? Both, I'd say, viable options here. Panzer push back. Bit of skirmish needs with the Sturmpioneer. Can begin dropping in those SVT-40s soon enough. They may, of course, go for a disc heavy machine gun first. Full push back with engineers there, leading the way for the Red Army. Sandbags on the fuel point there, very good. It's going to make things tougher. We do get the first airdrop weapon here, the SVD-40 semi-automatic rifle. Just enforcing more Panzers here for Tretz, so that's a pretty heavy, like, tier 1 there. You actually don't see that heavy typically from the Oberkommando West. Like, he's definitely looking to leverage these Panzers quite aggressively like that. I mean, if he gets 4 squads of those with G43s, that's going to be a lot of firepower versus Conscript and Conscripts. It's also definitely an awkward name. But anyways, got those SVD-40s ready. Punches the Conscripts, heavy cover versus some heavy cover, but also light cover there. That said, the Panzers should have the upper hand here, though it may take a bit of while to really leverage it. More sandbags here now. Needs to be scramping a flame for news holding up against the Assault in the Far East here. He actually managed to grab the Eastern Fuel Point and deny it to Conscript. That's pretty good there for Tretz again. Good sense of tactical opportunities here. That said, the Sturm Pioneer need to retreat before the Conscripts absolutely annihilate them. They're down 2 men already, the health is dropping fast alongside the squad members. Up north here, Contra they're finally forced to retreat in the face of Tretz. Very focused assault. The truck remains, though, static, yet not fully static either. It's sort of like, you know, waiting for the order. Looks like the other guy. And there you go. We do get the battle headquarters. Ultimately, not a surprise when you're going to go for that much infantry. You absolutely want a battle group headquarters. I mean, no two ways about it. There we go. Another SVD-40 being airdropped here for Conscript. And this Conscript is Frontovix. Punching towards the center. Cis 3 Division field gun to help deal with any German light vehicles, but also provide artillery support. And of course later on German tanks. And uses the Panzers in the east here. That should be a win there for the Panzers. And uses the flamethrower as the unit in heavy cover, as the flamethrowers get a bonus for units in heavy cover. Plus it's an AoE weapon. So cover addition just bunches them up further, so it becomes really, really effective. And there you go. Thumbs up to Conscript here, merges the Contact Engineers. That way, getting up to full strength again. It's a really powerful ability, honestly. Field gun there, almost done. Field gun out there. You got the mechanized command post ready here. That means you can begin upgrading his men with the recon package and get them the 6th guard, but also the G43s. More weapon drops here for Conscripts and the Red Army. The G43 by the way was based off the SVD-40, well the firing mechanism was specifically, otherwise it's basically just a further refinement of the G41 semi-automatic rifle, but where again there were some issues with the firing mechanism. Punching 40, a big sweep there. And interesting enough, we aren't seeing any upgrades there for Tretz Panzers. I mean, you'd figure with that many Panzers he'd want to like prioritize upgrading them as fast as possible. Worth noting here, we seem to be getting a delaying action here versus Conscript in the west. He's basically looking to buy time as he then swings hard southeast towards the other fuel point with the Panzers. I mean, that's definitely an interesting tactical move here by Treadz. And of course, can actually win the engagement. That's even better. We've got the Brandhandgranate. You could also follow up with a Concussor Grenade. I need to treat those Sturm before they get wiped. They might actually still get wiped there, honestly. That could have been handled a bit better, but still, he actually successfully defends the fuel point here against Conscript. So this maneuver is actually paying off dividends for Treadz so far, though again, the complete lack of recon package here from Treadz against Conscript is actually a bit baffling. Like, you'd really figure he'd decide to prioritize those G33 upgrades, but for whatever reason, Treadz does not seem particularly concerned about that. There we go, finally, nope, cancels on that one, probably has another unit he wants to upgrade it with. Which makes sense. Possibly Bonnie's retreating back to the base, and there we go, another weapon drop there for Conscript. He could also add like a guard squad here. The guard's airborne specifically. North here we got the forces of the engineers there. Gonna be a close one there. Flak half track for Treadz. Punch squad they need to retreat before they get utterly annihilated. Still, a lot of aggressive maneuvers from both sides. And Treadz is, I think, also crucially leveraging his like infantry numbers in a very smart way. Like some players would just like blob them up, but the way Treadz is moving, like he's just using like fan out, like make these broad pushes. So thumbs up there to Treadz. I mean, that definitely also takes more management than just, you know, blobbing up all of those Panzers just charging head in one go. So I'm still lacking that recon package on the Panzers. I mean, it is worth keeping in mind that the Panzerfusiliers, until you upgrade them with this, are actually weaker than the Volksgrenadiers. I mean, technically at this point, it would have been better off just going for a lot of Volksgrenadiers. So you definitely need to prioritize those recon packages soon, or he's going to be, I think, fighting increasingly at a disadvantage, in particular versus the Conscript upgrade with SD-40 semi-automatics. I think it's a very important thing to keep in mind there. In fact, it's about to lose a squad there, possibly. Sturmpionier dealing with the Conscripts, a concussive grenade here would be a good idea, but has the added downside, of course, of delaying the upgrades for the Panzerfusiliers. So there's still a bit of a sticky spot here for Treadz. We've got a Academy after that. We also have the flak half track, which will help a lot versus Conscript infantry. Conscript Red Army here, finally taking up there. Wing ahead for the next big thing. In fact, he's just moving straight ahead for the Mechanized Armor Company. Conscript has no illusions or quibbles about what he wants next. He wants big tanks. Well, bigly tanks. Constantly hitting on mine as well. Good mining by Treadz, by the way. Thumbs up. Treadz and the German army, the Groß Deutschland Panzergrenadier Division, charge ahead against Conscript. His lines wavering under the near fervent German assault. But yeah, no sign of upgrade yet for the Panzerfusilier. Flak happening westwards here. Big 2 points wide, small lead here for Conscripts over Treadz. Field gets a good hit on the flak half track, focusing on the panzer moving forwards. Got the southern point here. That's it, the flak half track is now in dire need of repairs. He can begin upgrading his panzers with G43s, and again, he really should. I mean, unless he's actually planning to equip one with Panzerstreaks as well, I guess, but grenade off. Banhand Grenade flushes out the troops. Obviously good there, but he really needs to start upgrading them. My mate is actually doing so well there by not upgrading, but again, part of it is just like currently he does have like 5 infantry squads, so there's 1 full scope, technically 6 with a Sturmpionier as they come more to what I call actual infantry. Versus opponent just 4 constant engineers, again, kind of don't. I mean, with the flamethrowers, they sort of can't close an infantry squad in that sense, but the minesweepers definitely don't, so he's definitely a bit hit there in some ways, but again, the conscripts are still, like, you know, better upgraded currently, so something needs to change there for Treadz soon. You also need to consider taking up soon as well. You got a disc on the way there for Conscript. That's going to be great versus Treadz troops, obviously. And the flak half-tank catcher from the right angle. But yeah, no sign of upgrades yet. No sign of a truck yet. Just lots of fighting here. And Conscript at this rate is actually not far away from the T-34-76. I mean, Conscript definitely knows what he wants, and he is so far, I would say, executing it fairly well. Though again, Tretz's massive infantry surge definitely, I think, has slightly blindsided him. Since typically, while most All Commands players tend to be very infantry-focused players, they tend not to be, so to say, that heavy in that direction. That shows he tends to be a bit limited. Normally, like, you know, go for an MD-34 instead of all of his infantry. But Tretz clearly believes in the power of infantry. And I do believe we're finally seeing an upgrade. Yep. Fairly late to the party on that one. But at least he's finally doing it, which is definitely necessary here for him. Of course, at this rate, they're just going to end up bleeding him out there without really achieving much in the longer run. Meanwhile, Conscript's just rushing ahead here. So there you go, ready. Can of course also add a 6th guy, and I imagine that's what he's going to do first before sending them out again. But he also needs to take up here. The faster he can get that Schwer Panther quarter up, the better. The better. There you go, truck finding the way there. But as he finally goes for the truck here, Conscript's going for the T-34-76. And at this rate, he won't be far off from another one. At which point, that's going to get things very complicated for Tretz. It's just going to be on the receiving end of an increasingly large number of very cheap, efficient medium tanks. Schwerer Wehrmachtsschlepper out there for Treadz, the German army. Looking on the west side. Pumping forwards. Which the Covenant can use it with the G43s and their K9 TKs. But now Conscript's T-34 has arrived here, and that's going to make things, again, very uncomfortable. As Tretz only has one Raketnever right now. In a pinch, he can equip the Sturmpioneers with a Panzerschreck, but it's still going to be tough. You've got a grenade on the disc, causing quite some heavy damage, but ultimately unable to exploit it thanks to the presence of that T-34-6. Losses being suffered there, Panzer Squad wiped out. Again, we can sort of see the Tretz are now suffering the pressures the tank arrives, but again, also the lack of any upgrades on the larger scale for the Panzerfleets also leaves Treadz a bit dangling about there. Finally got the TEG going, needs to authorize it, but technically not far away from the Panther, but Conscript is just pouring through the gaps now, like just that T-34 has really made things tough there for Treadz now. And he is definitely not quite ready for that. Flak after they're holding up the search in the center, but doesn't defend the fuel point. Trying to grab the southern one, but the T-34 of course proved to be a significant obstacle, even with a damaged engine. And he's losing the northern fuel point, which means Tretz's attempt at getting out armor is going to be further slowed down. Also got grenade upgrade here for Conscript, and his Conscripts. Now some of the guards Airborne, again, Mercer place don't bother them. We can either go for like upgraded Conscripts with the ST-40s or the 7 upgrade. Conscript with the flak half track. Heavy damage inflicted. Does get the fuel pond in a neutral. And there you go. Needs to authorize it. But he's not too far from a Panther 4 here. And he's caught the... They actually did manage to finish the mine. We'll have to see if Tretz caught up on that. Or... Minesweeper's out! Oh, narrowly did it just in time. Just because there was the Panthers in the east, we got a feature point because we got wire being cut here. Fogg's been caught with the T-34 with 4 kills already. The pressure on Treadz is increasing, and still no authorization here. There we go. Already has the fuel for the Panther 4 Model J. Manpower wise, not far away either. Of course, Treadz could be tempted to go for something bigger like a Jagdpanzer or a Panther. He could even stall for the Tiger tank, but I think a Panther 4 now would be a much more salient choice here before his opponent just floods the field with T-34s and 6s or field guns, but he could go for the Tiger tank. Troops enforcing healing. He's busy laying down mines. Ground lost in points. Sneaking about the west. Big push against your Sturmpioneer. Raketnever coming up. 2 Raketnevers could be a sign he might in fact be planning for the Tiger tank here, or at least the Panther. But I'm just going to stick for the Panther 4. Grenade off, he almost wipes at the Conscript squad. Engineers there are also close to ending up on the receiving end of an execution there, but they do survive. Well, Yuri survives, the rest don't. But still, that's enough to reconstitute the squad. Pushing westwards for the western fuel point there. Panther was on for Tretz, so no stalling for the big tanks. Wise, I would say. Nemo, the Conscript, is now able to go for another T-34 and 6, and he neatly pushes for it. Very good. That's it. Might have pushed a bit too far here. Raketnever's anti-tank rifle grenade could do a lot of damage to the T-34 and 6. Quite the anti-tank rifle grenade, by the way. Quite the anti-tank rifle grenade. Flak with the Conscripts. Cunningham with the flak half track. Pending then down soon. Flak half under far from the assist 3D from field gun. We got a big push here though by Treadz. Almost got all Panzer squads upgrading. There you go. Panther out for Treadz. Probably going to get the Panther Commander. Got a small squad here, and there you go. Cruising the disc with this protection there. Bunches up troops this time too much, making it easy for the disc to stop. Here, Tretz counter attack here, and quickly turn into, like, you know, a nice defense here for Conscript. Disc are being flanked here, but the Fulkers and the Panzerfleet forcing a treaty, allowing for the air troops up north to make better progress, but they are still the problem. The engineers being backed up by the Conscripts. And again, the Panzerfleet on heavy cover, so it's going to need support here to assist with that. Panther 4 that could move to assist, and it is on the move here. Panzer Squad that narrowly wiped out, avoiding being wiped out there. In the southeast, is sneaking up the fuel point there. Thumbs up to Treadz. Very good there. Heavy cover shattered, leaving them exposed to the Panther 4's mighty gun. And there you go. You actually counter the T-54s from 6 for a Katyusha, preferring some rocket artillery here. I can see the logic to that with the Raketnev and such. On the other hand, it gives Tretz Panther 4 a bit more breathing space. It doesn't have to be worried about swarmed by tanks right away. It gives them more time to then actually get maybe tank superiority over Conscript. So there are advantages and disadvantages to what Conscript did there. We'll have to see if we made the right choice though. But at least he's bringing another 6th Division field gun. That of course is also just really, really efficient. That's going to definitely add some pressure there to Treadz. Flak half-track need repairs. Very, very close to Veteran 2. I'm a bit surprised it hasn't reached Veteran 2 sooner. Typically you can actually get a flak half-track at this point to Veteran 2, if not higher. And it is at Veteran 2 that the flak half-track gets really good. Panther 4 setting out, adding the Panther Commando. Up north we got the folks with Engineers. Gunning them down there. Still need to upgrade to infantry squads there. Another push towards the eastern fuel point here. Tretz is relentless. Disco suppressing troops, the Panther 4 training into them. Got the T-54 rank to the screen, and there you go. Double camera doing heavy damage to this Katyusha ready to fire back in response. Not quite though. Got the Panther pulling ahead, they're catching the disc out in the open. And in the west, also firing there for the fuel point and victory point there. We got 264 to 392. There we go. Sis gun to the rescue, punches straight through the Panther 4's side armor. Katyusha with 1 kill. But it is now ready to unleash another rocket barrage upon Tretz and his forces. Fun fact about the Katyusha, but the Germans knew it as the Stalin organ. Clearly not thinking Stalin was very great at any sort of like musical instrument. Anyways, trot on the way there for Treadz. Sturmpioneer versus the Conscripts. And there you go, another truck out. That's going to be a mechanized rent for repair parties, possibly Strickers first, but also might indicate Treadz is going to go straight for a King Tiger. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the timing. I feel like Treadz should be pushing for medium armor before trying to push for, like, you know, anything bigger. Particularly if opponent could just like start churning out those T-34s and 6s en masse. And there you go, loses the final Panther squad. That's at least the unupgraded one, so I guess he doesn't have to worry about upgrading that, but it is resulting in the fact that he's then starting to like get more equal in terms of infantry Conscript, which definitely means Conscript starting to pull in the advantage since he's got a lot of S50-40 Conscripts at the ace level, and Treadz does not. Part again is just the issue with just being too slow and upgrading his own Panzerfusilier. So we can sort of see also a bit the risks of like a heavy Panzerfusilier strategy like this. Unless you can upgrade them really fast, you can risk getting your opponent the advantage. In particular, if they're the ones in upgrading their basic infantry with their semi-automatic rifles. North here, Conscript pursuing the Panther 4 here. Good hit there. Another T-34-6 on there for Conscript. Quick. Oh, looks like he's trying to get off an grenade on the T-34-6, but it escaped his reach. Steelhunt grenade off there, killing poor Dimitri. And there you go, the Panzer is narrowly rendered them point neutral. 249 to 339. Second T-34-6 almost done. And he's technically not far away from another T-34-6, which is really like just one of the advantages of the T-34-6. Like, you can quickly get a lot of them, at which point you have a ton of firepower available to you. There we go. Tretz does go for the Panther 4, so while he might have something planned there, he clearly, I think, realised he needs more Panzers first. You could also try for Jagdpanzer, but I think in this situation a Panther 4 Model J is a fairly solid choice. Around the western victory point. Panther 4 there busy in the centre. I'm busy down there with the T-34 from 6. Bit of quiet here, bit of probing across the entire front line. Tretz, of course, control of both viewpoints is a significant advantage. His opponents only got like a few points. In fact, we got 33 versus 13 fuel. That's almost a 3 times difference in fuel per minute. That is definitely something that can quickly balloon into a large advantage here for Treadz if we can maintain this, which of course is the tricky part. Multiple there. Taking Panther Red, we'll have to go to the Panzer Commander, the Pinlight Machine Gun. I mean, technically any Panzer would of course have a Panzer Commander. They also typically actually poking the head out of the turret there by the cupola. In fact, there's very much German tank doctrine, since it gave the German tank commander the best awareness across the field. In fact, it gave them a significant advantage during Operation Barbarossa in response. But on the other end, the so tankers would typically actually drive around with the hatches shut, so they had very little field awareness compared to the German tankers. So, little fun fact there. Used right here by the Panther 4, adding the panel-mounted MG42. Punch there, catching the counter there by the eastern victory point. No additional infantry yet for Treadz. Well, of course, if he goes for it, we can just like transfer up for the next tank. Meanwhile, Conscript just go for another T-34 from 6. He may also be tempted to go for another Katyusha or go for an HE-5 medium tank destroyer here. Looks like we're seeing a deep flank being lined up here by Treadz. This could be quite devastating under the right circumstances. If, like so say, caught him with a good push using the smoke bombs. Oh dear! Conscript's also planning a flank by the looks of it, which could disrupt Treadz's flank. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yup, he's like, Scheiße, the Russians are here! The entire mission has gone Scheiße! But even then, I think without like a, say, diversionary attack from the front there, I think that wouldn't have worked out too well anyways. But I like the idea of the setup there, but just the aerial execution needs a bit more work there from the Treadz. A bit more work. But at least he tried. But there you go. Flag half track nearly was getting filled with rockets here by the Sturmovik rocket run there from the Alto Sturmovik. Also known as the Flying Brick House amongst other nicknames, which also just include the Flying Tank. Mechanized right in here for Treadz. Enabling more Pioneer to fix up the Panzers. T-34 from 6 for Conscripts are just more medium tanks. Again, they are quite efficient like that. Good rate of fire. Really good machine guns. Good speed, and then combined with the overall low price, I mean, you know, really, really efficient medium tank. The mechanized right in headquarters got digging here by Conscript. Thumbs up. Got the Katyusha unleashing hell on the center. Political squad quickly pushed off. Southeast, though, we got a big push here by Tretz, exploring again the build-up here. That said, it's not a build-up thing can ignore either. As Conscript will basically just repeat what he does there, here, and with all these tanks, he'll definitely do a lot more damage to Treadz, whose tanks on hand seem to be used defensively. Where they probably should be over here, and the cabin should be up there, maybe alongside some infantry, in which case we then flank up with the Panther Horse behind here. But instead, we got Conscript lining up for a really nice flank here. Thumbs up, we even got the third T-34 arriving. Might be dispatched to yield with the Germans here, but there you go, flanking in here. Feel like I should have gone for a deeper flank here, but I can understand not wanting to dive too deep either. But there you go, Panther arrives. One T-34 lancer shot roof through there. Conscript rushing in there with the anti-tank grenades. Southeast at T-34 dealing with the punch there by the southern point. Punch there being hammered by the T-34 from 6 down to 3 men. Its main gun machine, of course, are quite lethal for infantry. The Cav members are on the way there to deal with that. We got 207 to 306. We'll have to see what Tretz got next. Meanwhile, we've got an armoured standoff up north here between the T-34s and 6 and the Panther Force. Technically, the Panther Force could be able to deal with that. But it might be worth their field guns in the way. They're technically not there, but they are on the way. Still, rocket strike here. And there we go. Nice angle here. Does a bit of damage to the Panther Force. Well, got them both down to half health. Repair Pioneers are not ready yet here for Treadz. T-34s are going to exploit this gap he created here. In the south end was pushed here forwards, but they're being met with intense fire from the flak half track. 12 kills, almost veteranly free. And a Stuka first up deal with the support weapons there, going for his own rocket artillery. Now, the Stuka first was rather uniquely actually part of a Panzer Pioneers heavy weapons platoon or company, actually, where there'd be a platoon of those to sort of assist the rocket artillery that way. There would also be some Panzer brigades which had in there their own little bit of self-propelled artillery alongside mortar half tracks. So, little fun there about the fact about the Stukas first. Like find there, the Fultons is routing them with some violent rocket fire there. Need to grab the northern point there, back. Panther Force being fixed up. Stukas first right around the corner. There we go. Now, another unique thing about this, the rockets themselves are basically just carried in wooden frames, they're disposable, so they could also be easily set up on the ground and fired like that, like it's effectively like a very static Nebelwerfer. Little fun fact there. And of course, could also be mounted on other things like, say, French Hotchkiss tanks. Parts being hammered in centre by the T-34s from 6. Looks like they're lining up for attack. There was still the T-34s on the flank here. You could try and use the flares and the Panzers to scout out the field guns, then hit them with the Stukas barrage. There you go. T-34s, Panther Force clashing here. He's still being very cautious here with his tanks. I mean, he's clearly concerned about the field guns, which he doesn't quite know where are. And of course, a mistake here could be costly for Treadz. Could be very costly. But he definitely wants rid of them because they are really powerful, and there you go, I think he spotted them. Folks is being flank after moving in. There we go. And as soon as he can see that he's aware of them, he unleashes the Stukas and its many rockets. Everything lands, there we go. Gets him in the max district crew and the field gun crew, but not enough to actually wipe either of them. And crucially, there's actually no follow-up in this rocket strike. Like, definitely think mistake like Treadz, he should have like coordinated the push with the rocket strike so that we had most optimal chance of actually clearing out the field guns and getting rid of them. But by now the field guns repositioned, they can actually deal with the follow-up armored assault tiers. So also they're getting that bunch up now, they're being wiped out easily. So this is easily turning out there for Treadz here. He should have a chance to recruit them, but the losses have been heavy. Now the Panther Force are suffering the wrath here of the field guns and the T-34. Small chance of losing one of the Panther Force here, but it looks like it does narrowly escape, but only narrowly. And he lost the Kednev in the process entirely. Was not able to get it out of there. Of course, it does have the advantage of the repair pioneers, which means he has to manage repairing a little less. Meanwhile, Conscript just replacing the one T-34 from 6 he lost fairly easily. Panther need to be fixed up. Eastern Point secured for the Red Army. Mines in the centre here by Conscript. Sadly, no airborne troops used at all. Then again, the SPT-40 Conscripts are just really, really efficient, so I don't blame them for it. Right, so we got the Panzers with the Conscripts. Bringing it off there. Panther Force being slowly fixed up. We got the T-34 76 number 3 out here for Conscript. So again, back to 3 tanks. Stukas first almost ready to fire again here for Treadz. Losing the western victory point and fuel point to the Red Army. Those grab the eastern one, but the centre one's been claimed as well here. That looks like a bit more of a standoff between Tretz and Conscript. Conscript, I think, of realising the southern half of the map here and the east side is actually quite wide open, so good flanking would be quite devastating for Tretz. He's using only a small force to defend all of this, and the flank half-tech would be like easily dealt with by a good flank using this eastern logging road. The bases swing up behind here. That could pretty much just force Tretz into a really bad position, honestly. Conscript, I think, is definitely maintaining, I think, some fairly good field awareness here. Whereas Tretz seems to be slightly getting to the bulk up. There you go. Did seem to like at least anticipate a flank here. And Conscript, rather than push through here, actually backs off here. Perhaps concerned about the possibilities of other things hiding there. But I'd definitely say missed opportunity in the east though. We got heavy fire in the field. Katyusha barrage off here on the Germans in the east. Not really doing much damage there. T-54's being hauled back. Almost got the Kidnapper. He had a flare there, so he must have hurt the tanks and just decided to like scout out there. In which case, thumbs up to Treadz. Rushing one Panther 4 eastwards, the only being hauled back for repairs. Panzer's Grand Western field point their back. Should be able to take out one T-54 from 6 there. We got 135 to 297. And now we got a T-54 counterattack. He hoping to have to catch the Germans as they go after the T-54 from 6. And it does succeed. He catches Treadz completely off guard. He was not ready for the counterattack there. He felt like he was still in pursuit. And we got the Chemist being unleashed here. Could catch the Panther 4. No, hits the Kidnapper instead. Doesn't really do anything. And we got the T-54 going for the Panther 4, but loses out. The engine stalls out, knocks out with the Panther 4. Flag half-take gets away from the T-54 from 6 as well. Here we got 135 to 297. Another T-54 from 6 for Conscript. Again, he loses one. He easily replaces it. And still the one down here hiding out behind an old shed, waiting for repairs. And he's diving to the base here, catching the other Panther 4 there. Could be in trouble here. Then again, there's a bit of a reach here by Tretz. His tanks all down. There you go. T-54 gets a penetrating hit. They actually got too close. Giving the T-54 from 6 better chance of penetrating the Panther frontally. And he does it again. That's it. He's got a bit unlucky there with his own shot bouncing off the T-54's armor still. I don't think that was optimal there by Treadz. Now has to get out, but the T-54 from 6 actually finish it off there. And again, you can easily afford to trade to T-54 from 6 at this point for Panther 4s. Particularly veteran Panther 4s. That's it, both bounds. Now he's ramming it. Yeah. But he does break up the Panther 4 there. Got another Panther 4 there for Treadz. And of course, Conscript can go for another T-34 from 6 already. As long as he's got that resource lead, we can just easily like trade 1 or 2 tanks for a tank. He's effectively winning. That's it. If he trades every 2 T-34s for the Panther 4, then that's going to be long-term cost efficient. Like once he can get away with it. Meanwhile, control the western side here. Got the fuel point, got the calf point, got 118 was 297. Situation for Tretz is getting increasingly dire here. Getting increasingly dire. Sugar was there, 13 kills, veterans 1 is close but not quite there. Gramlich and Film got in use as the Panzerverlierer. North there, we got another Panzer squad pushing forwards there. 25 kills in the name of Deutschland. In the centre, the Dish unleashes heavily upon the Sturm Pioneer on the south here. Bit of clash as well. The Panzer being pushed back by the engineers. And a mine takes them out, leaving Tretz further depleted of infantry. And again, Conscript still has the 4 Conscript squads there plus the Flame Engineer squad. So he's still fairly well ahead there. Tretz, I think, at this point really needs more infantry. More than anything, he should strong consider Oberstdorf. And also worth noting, he's got a lot of munitions. We haven't seen any smoke bombs and no mines. There's definitely, I think, some issues here for Tretz in terms of his strategy. Now, it's definitely starting to see a lot of slip-ups here. Whereas Conscript just continues at the same, I would say, very efficient pace. And he's just bringing in more T-34s from 6s, even as Tretz's forces are just steadily crumbling. Like a sandcastle at the beach. Panther 4 hitting a mine there. Great for Conscript, moving in the field guns. Pulling a rocket strike here. There you go. Good angling. That's it. Tretz narrowly managed to turn the right time. They're avoiding taking too many hits there. Instead, we got a smoke bomb here. Finally calling in the smoke bombs to cover the retreat of the Panther 4. Thumbs up. Again, fairly late, so not that big of a thumbs up. More full screen for Tretz, not opposite guard or anything like that, but just more full screen. Fair enough. Again, there's been more. That was definitely a misclick here by Tretz. Easy kill there for Conscript. Stuck was swinging in and took off a fairly close quarters barrage. Hoping to get some lucky hits in and wipe some units. Or hoping to catch the fields. There we go. wipes one of the crews, even gets the disc. That was a hell of a barrage. Like, I think that was 12 kills in just one barrage there. That's, and like some intense damage to Conscript. The question is, will it be enough to really pull Tretz out of the current mess? He's down 95 versus his opponent's 297. That is a hell of a difference. Particularly when he's already short in infantry and crucially short on veteran infantry, whereas Conscript forces are anything but short on veterans at this point. Panther 4s both with damaged engines. The situation is further falling apart here for Treadz. T-34 some 6 on the way there.
Ready for action.
Another T-34 there. Looking forward to being murdered. Brutal stuff. Choosing to push out here. Can't being hammered there. Panther on the move. Just being mauled. Looking pretty rough here for Treadz still. I mean, he's slowly trying to grind his way out of it, but I don't think the odds for that are looking great. It just requires one good push for Conscript or one bad push for Tretz, and it just all falls apart. So what will it be? That's it. One really good push for Tretz could possibly secure him in the match, but it requires a really, really good push. His Stuck was about 26 kills, actually close to veteran 2 now. Can this barrage do it? Got veteran 2 but no kills. Panther Force charging forwards there. Shot bouncing or missing. Field guns, T-4 trying to deal with this. Katyusha could control there. Got Panther 4 blitzing in. Should be able to take out the Katyusha, but the question is going to be at what cost, because the T-5 force will now flank the Panther 4. Almost. There we go. Narrowly got it. Lost the Panther 4. Other Panther 4 with his main gun out, and I think at this point Treadz is dead in the water with no tanks to deal with 3 T-34s and 6s and no Raketen members, by the way. I think it's safe to say Treadz is pretty much toast. His ability to deal with Conscript forces are now pretty much nil, I think. He can't even like respond with like some fast, cheap armor in some ways. Like, he's got no Stugs, no T-34s and 6s of his own, nothing. Like, the best he could do is like push out some Pumas, but the question is, would that really help Treadz? Very much. There we go, GG, game over. A loss here for Treadz, a victory for Conscript, a victory for the Red Army, a fierce fight here with some really intense tank battles at times. In the end, I feel like Treadz' strategy, while he definitely had some merit, failed, I think, to upgrade his men fast enough. I think that was one of the major issues for Treadz, plus some other issues there. I think managed to like slightly undermine his strategy, whereas Conscript, I think, played a much more focused and cohesive game, and that would just sadly overwhelm Treadz. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell friends, tell family. Consider donating or pledging on Patreon as well. Links are in the video description. This is Imperial Links and cheers. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow again for another episode. Bye.